everybody, it's Chad with Nobody Else's Auto. We got a couple of cool big Fords to check out tonight. But before we get into these Fords, be sure to click that subscribe button. We've got a lot of killer stuff coming up that you're not going to want to miss. Just picked up a 66 El Camino, got a super cool Dodge pickup coming up, 70 Caprice, 66 Fairlane GT convertible, a really cool old limo. We've had a lot of neat stuff hitting the ground, so click that subscribe button, click that notification button. We do a lot of cool live stuff on here as well. You don't want to miss any of that. So anyway, what we've got here is a couple Fords. I believe this is a 74, and I think this is a 75. I was looking at the build dates on them. This was like April of 74, and this was like September of 74. So these were both built in 74, but I think based on the differences I see in them, this probably was the new 75 body style. I'm not extremely well versed in these mid-70s Fords. I've got a handful of them here, but not a lot. And so I'm kind of learning about them as we go. These came on a load of 20-some vehicles I bought on an old farmstead that literally spanned, one car was late teens all the way up into, there was one pickup in the early 90s. So literally that broad of a spectrum came off of this farmstead on this bulk buy of cars and pickups. And that's where these old Fords came from. So you can be sure to check out that video of where we found these at, along with a lot of those other cool cars and trucks. But anyway, these Fords here, they're both pretty much intact and pretty much complete. Like I said, I'm not extremely well versed on them. We'll start here with this 74. This is a basic regular four-door sedan, pretty much your basic standard car for this era of Ford. Obviously the grille got whammied on it, and it's got rust and dings and dents. It's just an old car that was used. It was basic transportation. When they got done with it, they parked it. Quarters are obviously heavily rusted on it. Inside, it's weathered, it's intact, it's here, but it's weathered, it's had rodents in it, it's been used for storage. But all the dash stuff is still there. There again, bits and pieces that some of these old cars that are still on the road, you never know when they're going to need them. We come around the back of this old Galaxie, and the rear bumper basically fell off of it. We got it sitting up on top of the car because I think the structure all rusted out. But the tail lights and stuff are all still here. The trunk lid's here. But there again, it's rough. It's your basic old four-door. But there again, there's still some of these cars out there on the roads. Are people doing frame-off concours restorations on 74 Galaxies? No. But there's some people out there that probably have family cars that they want to keep up, cars that have been handed down. And like we talk about on here a lot, once this stuff is flat, ain't none of it good for anything. So that's why this one's here, you know. Really unique back window, the way it peaks in the middle with the moldings all still on it. There again, if somebody has one that a tree branch falls on, where are you going to find a glass and moldings for them? Because once they're flat, they're not good for anything. This one obviously did come out of some trees. Still got some branches hanging on this one. But there again, not the most desirable car in the world, but when they're gone, they're gone. This one still even has a hubcap on it. Now, as we swing over here to this, what I believe is the 75, this is kind of a neater car. This one is a two-door coupe, factory red car. So obviously this one was a little fancier, a little more upscale than our basic Galaxie here. This particular car, I believe, was an LTD. We've still got the badging in here. And I thought this was a really unique design feature when I first saw this car. Two rear quarter windows. The small upright one, and then a larger one that is more back along where the passenger would have actually been sitting to look out. Now, that's a lot of extra work to put an extra window in there. It would have been probably much simpler to just expand this window a little bit larger, had one piece of glass, and this is a one-piece molding that goes around here. Instead, we now have added another window, another piece of trim, an emblem on it, as well as having to design the trim on the inside to make that look. That coupled with the fact this car had a vinyl top on it, we can see where this molding is at, a little bit of trim, a little bit of top still sticking back under these edges. So really in its day, this was a pretty sharp car. Bright red, white top, LTD with these extra windows in the sides. This would have been a pretty sharp looking car. And I know mid-70s Fords are still not the most popular car in the world, but this thing I think was pretty cool in its day. Inside there again, this car's been sitting for a long time. but it's intact. You see the LTD on the door panels. The dash is all still intact. Once again, a lot of pieces here, and a lot of two-door only pieces here. We come around the back, we can see it's obviously completely different than this other car. Of course, this is an LTD. Completely different tail panel trim. It said LTD across the back of this as well. Even the backup lights had some scroll work to them. Kind of a fancy car. And definitely, as we step back and look at the 74 Galaxie versus this LTD, definitely a lot more style on this one versus our basic Galaxie, which was our basic transportation type car. Over here, this old LTD, kind of more of the same. Pretty straight old car, not nearly as rusty as the Galaxie is. Inside over here, we've got our LTD on the dash as well. So just an old car that's been sitting for a long time, but a lot of good pieces on it. Kind of the same thing. Not the most desirable car in the world, but if they're flat, there's nothing. If somebody has one that a tree falls on, breaks a window, damages moldings, gets backed into, there again, if these cars are flat and gone, none of it's any good. Up here on the front with these front park lights, the grille, the headlight bezels, all this stuff, when they're gone and flat, none of it's good for much of anything. So while we're here, let's go check out a couple other Fords real quick. We're not too far away from a few other Fords from the mid-70s, so if you're here checking out mid-70s Fords, let's take a look at a couple of others that are right here. How about a 63 Mercury two-door sedan? Don't see those cars very often. But over here we've got another LTD, a four-door, as well as an LTD 2. I think this one's a 76, maybe this LTD Landau. There again, a lot of fancy trim on this car. Vinyl top with all these very unique moldings. Kind of a formal looking roof where we had a paint line around the windows before we got into the vinyl top. Once again, that's a lot of extra pieces when you're cranking out hundreds of thousands of cars to generate a whole set of moldings here versus just bringing the molding up to the drip rail, which most cars did, and breaking it there and putting the vinyl top on. No, for the more formal look on this LTD, we got these extra moldings to make that stand out on this Landau. Around the back of this one, very similar to the other one, except our back tail panel is different. We do not have LTD across the middle of this one. Same fancy scroll work in the backup lights, but we don't have the LTD in it. Local car from Hoisington, Kansas, just 6 or 8 miles up the road from where we're at. So kind of a neat old LTD. Take a peek inside, even though the windshield got knocked out of this one. And it's all still here. One thing that I find kind of interesting with this being an LTD Landau, we've got power seat, but manual windows. Seems kind of odd to me. I think I would have rather had the power windows, but hey, that's just me. Some other parts off some other mid-70s Ford luggage racks off wagons, an extra header panel, things like that that I've acquired. Keep it all here with these Fords so that I know where it's at. LTD2, kind of a unique little car. I believe this is a 77 LTD2. Kind of a more intermediate mid-size car versus these little larger LTDs. So, and these are very unique cars as well. Front end's the same as the Ranchero in this era. And a lot of cool pieces left on this one as well that will fit a Ranchero. This one was a Brougham. We've got the Brougham on the windows here. The LTD2 badge across the back of this one. So there again, these cars aren't extremely popular. Rancheros are pretty popular. A lot of this stuff is the same as Ranchero. Plus, there's still some nice original old cars out there that people are looking for parts for. They made these in a Coupe as well, which were a great looking car. So anyway, some more cool old Fords. We try to keep things pretty diverse around here. I'm always looking to think about what people may or may not be needing in the future. So That's why I add some of this stuff to the inventory. Even though some people say, well, a 74 Galaxie is not the most popular car in the world. No, it's not. I've got a couple of them here. But both of them would be in the shredder right now, and there would be nothing left of them had we not brought them in and saved them. So that's why we did it. So if you got any questions about any of these Fords or any of the other 2000 cars and trucks we've got here on the ground at Nobody Else's Auto, just give me a call, 620-786-4428. That number is in the description as well. Give me a call. We can have a short conversation about your project or what you're looking for a project, year, make, model, body style, the parts you need, things like that. With the amount of inventory I've got here with a couple thousand cars on 20 acres, that's a lot of inventory. So having it narrowed down to what you're looking for, as well as the type of build you're doing. Some people are building a patina type vehicle and they want a certain, hopefully faded green fender or something like that. All that information is super critical to know if I might be able to help you out or not. So like I mentioned earlier, stay tuned. We've got a ton of cool stuff coming up. You don't want to miss any of those videos, so hit that subscribe button. Hope you enjoyed the old Fords, and thanks for watching, everybody. We sure hope to see you soon on the next video.